When I was 17, my dad and I moved into my stepmom's house. From the moment I stepped foot into her house, I had a creepy feeling about it. Always felt like something was watching me, eyes following me all times of the day and night. I had just started meditating at the time as well, but could never get full silence, even when I was home alone. There was always bumping in the attic or something moving in the other room. Shortly after moving in, I started experiencing the shadow, but I wasn't alone. My stepmom and father had also seen the shadow. It would always dart from the hallway into my dad's study. After we all vocally acknowledged this to one another, the activity started picking up. I was in my room one day, and I heard our front door open. My dogs started barking, and I heard my stepmom's voice asking the dogs if they wanted to go outside. She sounded chipper, so I came out of my room to say hello, but when I reached the living room, no one was there. My dogs were in the middle of the living room barking towards my dad's study. The front door was still locked, and after looking around, I was still the only one home. Nope. I let the dogs outside to calm down, and I went back into the living room. I asked the shadow to never mock one of us again, that we weren't playing games with it. I left the conversation one-sided and went outside until someone actually came home. Fast forward to the weekend, I was in the city for a couple of days staying with a friend at her hotel who had come to visit. I got a call from my father around 6 a.m. the next morning, hungover. I still answered. He asked me where I was and why I left the house so early. I was extremely confused. He knew what time I had left the previous day. I asked what he was talking about, that I had been with a friend all night. Silence. Then he said, "No, you opened our bedroom door last night and told us you were home. Then you walked away and went into your room and shut the door." Silence. I was trying to figure out how to tell him that I was not home last night. When I did, he lost his shit. The shadow is mocking my voice now, and still does to this day. It still mocks all of our voices. First things first, I work at a very well-known casino in Lincoln, California. I'm a porter and I work the graveyard shift. Pretty much what I do is deliver water to bars, do garbage, replace bags, help servers, bartenders, and bar backs. I'm used to strange people because criminals, meth heads, and just straight up weirdos are always here at this time. People don't scare me. I'm a 6-foot beefy fellow and there are cameras everywhere. This is only one area that unnerves me. That unnerves all the porters, and it is the second floor storage area. All the porters don't like it, and we always pair up when one of us has to go up there. The reason is that it's so loud on the casino floor and the staff halls, but it is too quiet on the second floor. That's probably the reason. Well, Gerald, my best work buddy, who is 6'9", 290-pound ginger with a beard, and I had to take one of the portable bars into the storage area in our section. I grabbed the heavy one, and he grabbed the other one. We took the giant elevator up and started walking. Now this is important. It is a 90-foot walk with the 3 large turns into an actual storage room, and this hall had scaffolding everywhere because of the construction at the hotel, which was directly above, so we had to maneuver and serpentine around. It's quieter than usual because the air conditioner isn't on due to the construction, which resumes at 8 a.m. We make it to the storage room. The storage room is massive. There are 5 chain-linked fence blocks with about 1-3 sections per block. Every block is about 83 feet by 45 feet, with pathways in between which fit about 6 people standing shoulder to shoulder. Now, each block has a different level of visibility. Some you can see in between the shelves, others don't go 4 feet high so you can see anything over 4 feet, and others have 0 visibility. Our section is the third block. Take a left and Our section is the third block. Take a left and it's the last section. There are very few cameras. We put away the bars without much issues. We walk back and chat about Justice League. We make it 20 feet to the exit to the hall and I hear something. It sounded like someone covered their mouth and laughed, which is weird because no one is supposed to be up here. But Gerald and I stopped and turned my head slightly behind me. Gerald stopped and looked at me, confused. Did you hear that? Hear what? We both listened intently, and sure enough, the soft cackling occurred again. What the fuck was that? I don't know, let's leave, I said. Wait, let's see what it was, he replied. I watched horror movies and I know a cliche when I see one. I pointed this out and Joe said he was going to investigate it, and splitting up would be way more dangerous option. I reluctantly go with him. We walk up the first block and hear it on the other side of the first block. We peek from behind the corner and we see on the left side of the second block a construction helmet slightly peeling from around the corner. After 2 seconds it disappears. We hurried to the other side but it was gone. We go forward more and we hear cackling, but it was further on the fourth block. Luckily the fourth block only had one blind spot, which is where the helmet was, so he goes around it to try to intercept it. I keep my eye on it. He gives the signal and we both charge to it. It leans back and we both nearly run into each other. We pull down and see an empty construction helmet on the ground. We were dumbstruck. There were no exits. We would have seen whoever it was if they ran. No place to hide. And either of us would have saw whoever it was if they did go. We look up and around. No answers. Gerald finally agrees we should leave. We hurry out. I peer over my shoulder and after we pass the exit, I see it peer slightly over the doorway. We bolt to the elevator through the scaffolding. We make it to the elevator and quickly got inside. We hear a wet slapping sound by the scaffolding. We go down. We were both nervous. I still have no idea if someone was fucking with us or it was something else. I hate being alone in here. A couple of years ago, I went into the capital of my city for the first time with a couple of people. It was my best friend's birthday, and hating small town living, she just wanted to enjoy the city for the weekend. My boyfriend at the time and I ended up leaving the group to meet with one of his friends that lived there. Let's call him John. We'd made plans to go meet up with everyone later for sushi that night. We were going to take a taxi when John suggested that we take an Uber. I'm socially awkward and don't say much, so I usually make a point to sit in the back of cabs. But for some reason, I decided to sit up front with him while the guys were in the back. John tried to get a conversation going with the Uber driver, but he just answered with yes and no and seemed annoyed by the questions he was asking. Me, on the other hand, he kept trying to have a conversation with. He kept asking where I was from and if this was my first time in the city. This guy had this weird vibe to him that just gave me the creeps. A vibe I found out I was right about when one of John's questions spiked his interest. He asked if the driver had ever been gypped before and had someone not pay for their ride. The driver's mood changed quite noticeably from annoyed and talking to me to completely excitement and screaming to the whole car. He started to go on about how if someone didn't pay him, he knew exactly what he'd do to them. Without anyone saying another word, he started to tell us exactly what. He told us he would cut them up into pieces and put them into one of the Great Lakes. He went on telling us that there's always body parts coming up there, and no one can ever find out who the person is. He was saying he can't wait until it happens. He was going into serious detail about it, saying that if someone tried, he knew where they lived. When he said that, he looked at me and winked. I don't know what to do or what to say, so I just looked out the window and he continued talking. He talked about it for the whole ride to the restaurant, but luckily we were only a couple minutes away when he started to go on about murdering people. I didn't say another word, and neither did John or my boyfriend. We were all just kind of like, what the fuck, when we left, and didn't talk much about it afterwards. I was scared staying at John's that night, but I didn't bring it up since no one else did. The creepiest part isn't that he was telling us his thought-out plan about getting away with murder, but he was happy and excited talking about it, and talked about it with such detail, like it was something he thought about all the time. Like he said, he was waiting for it.